Good afternoon, all. Thank you very much. It is indeed a honor and privilege to be with you here in Baltimore here today. Um, you know, we're here to talk about our veterans. And the veterans, they're the men and women who defended our freedoms, and they deserve our gratitude. And to be quite frankly, folks, uh, um, our action and our commitment, especially in challenging times like these, they need our support. They need our support. More urgent, I do want to talk about the government shutdown that's going on right now. We're in the midst of a government shutdown, and I know many of you are feeling its effects. None more so than our veterans in this very room here today. The shutdown has disrupted critical services. VA call centers have reduced hours. Claims processing has slowed. Some community care appointments delayed due to funding lapse. Um, and for our veterans, like those I met this morning at the VAW post, is right down the road here in Baltimore, this isn't just an inconvenience. It's a betrayal of the promise we made to them. Veterans like Corporal Sarah Thompson. She's a Marine who served in Afghanistan. She came home with physical injuries and invisible wounds, PTSD, that made every day a battle. Sarah told me she's now struggling to get timely mental health support. And I guess my question is, why is that happening? Why is that happening? She's having to navigate a system strained by this shutdown. It's echoed by veterans across this country, from rural towns to urban centers, like this one here in Baltimore. And it's a story we're going to change. That's why I'm here today to announce a plan for our veterans. It's the Veterans Comprehensive Care Act. It is a bold piece of legislation to transform VA health care and mental health support, ensuring our veterans get the care they earned. Now, even in the midst of a government shutdown, I will guarantee you this: when the House gets back to session, when the Senate gets back to session, the Senate has been in session. They've been unfortunately um, voting down every continuing resolution that's been out there for the past 20 days. Um, a certain faction of them have been, let's put it that way. But as soon as things get back to normal, I will see that this piece of legislation will be introduced to Congress. Shutdown or no shutdown, this act is about keeping our promise to those who kept theirs. Let's be clear: the shutdown has made an already urgent situation dire. Veterans relying on VA benefits have faced delays in disability payments, leaving some struggling to cover rent or medical bills. Non essential VA staff have been furloughed, stretching wait times for appointments. Here in Baltimore, the VA Medical Center has had to postpone some elective procedures. Across the country, veterans outreach programs are on hold. This is unacceptable. Our veterans didn't hesitate when called to serve. We cannot hesitate to serve them. The Veterans Comprehensive Care Act, it is our answer. It is built on three pillars: access, quality, and compassion. First, let's talk about access. No veteran should be denied care because of where they live or how they were discharged. This act, this act on itself eliminates outdated eligibility barriers, ensuring honorable service guarantees comprehensive care, whether you serve for 2 years or 20 years, whether you're from Maryland or Montana. We're committing $50 billion, over $50 billion over 5 years to modernize VA facilities and build new clinics, including right here in Baltimore, so veterans don't have to travel hours for treatment. We'll expand telehealth to reach rural veterans and crucially, um, this legislation includes emergency funding provisions to keep VA services running during future shutdowns. And that unfortunately is a common occurrence is the shutdowns. And so this bill is going to ensure that there's provisions to have continued funding when there's lapses are in this case a shutdown. And that is so veterans like Sarah never face delays in care due to political gridlock. And bottom line, honestly, Sarah should never face gridlock. Our second is quality access. Quality access, and this means nothing without excellence. This act mandates annual audits of VA facilities to ensure they meet the highest standards with incentives for top performers and accountability for those who fall short. We will integrate advanced treatments like next generation prosthetics and precision medicine in every VA hospital. And to counter shutdown disruptions, we'll designate all VA healthcare staff as essential, ensuring hospitals and clinics stay fully operational no matter what happens down the road in Washington. And you hear me on that. We're going to make sure that when the next shutdown occurs, the VA is not affected. Our third pillar is compassion. Compassion, especially for mental health. The shutdown has cut access to some mental health hotlines and delayed counseling appointments, leaving veterans with PTSD or depression, like too many I've met here today, without the support they need. The statistics are heartbreaking. There are nearly 20 veteran suicides every day. That should shock our conscience. This act allocates $30 billion to create specialized trauma centers, hire thousands of counselors, many of them veterans, and establish 24/7 crisis hotlines with immediate follow-up care. We'll fund community partnerships here in Baltimore and beyond, connecting veterans with housing, job training, family counseling, because healing requires a village, not a void. This legislation also tackles the bureaucracy that frustrates veterans. We're launching a digital portal to streamline claims and appointments, reducing backlogs that worsen during shutdowns or don't even exist during shutdowns. Transitioning service members will mandate pre-discharge mental health screenings and seamless VA handoffs so no one slips between the cracks. And to protect against future disruptions, this act will include a contingency fund to keep benefits flowing even if the government grinds to a halt. I know you're asking, how do we pay for this? And that's a very good question. How do we pay for this right now when the government is shut down? The shutdown has strained our budget, but let me be clear here today. Supporting our veterans, it's not negotiable. It will never be negotiable under my administration. This is an investment in our values and the heroes who've carried our flag throughout the darkest nights. Bipartisan support. I've worked with bipartisan leaders to craft a fiscally responsible plan building on efficiencies like the 30% reduction in VA claim backlogs we've achieved since I took office over 4 years ago. But I'm also calling on Congress to end this shutdown now. And I'm saying this here today. It is time. It is time for the shutdown to end. I'm putting a call out today to say, as president, I will meet the Speaker of the House. I will meet the minority leader. We will sit down, we will talk, and we will find a pathway forward. That is the job of the President of the United States, to come forward to find a resolution to this. This shutdown has gone too far. Too many people are getting hurt, and it's time for it to end. You know, and quite honestly, folks, our veterans shouldn't pay the price for a political stalemate. Veterans direct to the veterans watching here in Baltimore, across the nation and around the world. I say this: we see you, we hear you, and we're fighting for you. The Veterans Comprehensive Care Act, it builds on progress like the PACT Act, expansion for toxic exposure, and increased funding for homeless veterans. But we must do more. We must do more. I urge Congress to pass this bill with urgency and to fund our government, because every day we delay is a day a veteran waits for care, and that's not right. This morning, as I got off Marine One at Fort McHenry, I thought about our national anthem and the words, "The bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there." Our veterans sitting here today, are proof that they've carried our flag. Now, we must carry them through shutdowns, through challenges, through anything. Let's pass the Veterans Comprehensive Care Act. Let's honor our heroes with action. And in closing, I want to thank each and every one of our men and women in uniform here today. You answered the call to this nation. And there's nothing, I always am grateful to the men and women who serve our country. I never had the opportunity to serve, but I'm telling you, there's not a day that I don't think a member of our armed services thank them for our service, thank them for their service, thank them for what they did for our country. You know, even walking down the street or when they come visit, I say thank you for what you've done. Because in this day of volunteer service, with the military being an all volunteer service, you didn't have to put your life out there on the line. You chose to. And this country owes you a debt of gratitude. I want to thank you very much. May God bless you. May God protect our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you.